So I was gonna repurchase Cruelty Squad, this game that I played recently, and I refunded it. But there's a look into it if you want. It doesn't matter. I don't even mean to drag this out, but I wanted to kind of, I value honesty and genuineness. So I'd mentioned to the developer, I said, look, man, now that I understand that your game wasn't a troll game, I'll repurchase it. Happy to do so, and I'll give it a fair shot. And I was going to do that tonight. I'm going to stream. I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to come back. And when I come back, I'm going to stream a game. And I was going to do it on that, and I went to Steam to buy it again. And it was really weird. I was just like, it's one of those things like my gut wouldn't let me. I was like, why am I just fucking buy the game, Jaffe, And and I was like, why not? And I realized what it was. I think that the Cruelty Squad community is so off-putting to me and so toxic and such just a bunch of smarmy, self-righteous assholes. And that was fine because that wasn't the developer. It's like, well, you can't help the kind of fan base you attract. But you can help the kind of fan base that you curate and cultivate and support. And the one that I think the reason it really stuck with me was, there's a company that I have been a very vocal supporter of for quite a while, which is New Blood Interactive. And I don't know what my dog is doing. What are you doing, man? New Blood Interactive, Dusk, which is not the prettiest girl at the prom, prettiest guy at the prom, whatever you're into, and wouldn't have been the prettiest girl or guy at the prom 15 years ago. It's a low poly, intentionally old school looking game. One of my favorite games. I think I gave it my number 2 game of 2017 or whenever it came out. Just this last year, 2020, another New Blood game. That was New Blood Dust, New Blood Ultra Kill. I think that was New Blood. Yeah, it's New Blood. My number 1 game of everything else. Dark Demon Souls and Ghost of Tsushima. Nope. Number 1 was Ultra Kill. Not a very beautiful looking game, but boy, it's got it where it counts. And when I saw some of the folks, including the CEO of New Blood, kind of using social media to kind of continue the pile-on of me as it related to Cruelty Squad, those guys don't owe me shit, okay? And I wasn't expecting anything from them. Like, it's not their job to defend me. It's not their job to like me. But we have engaged, a couple of us from that company over time, whether it's talking about my love of Dusk or whether it's talking about my love of Ultra Kill, or even some people were like, I don't know if they were joking or not, but they're like, oh, Jaffe, you should work with New Blood to make a Twisted Metal, kind of style game. And the CEO wrote me back or tweeted me back like, hey, let's, indicating that could be interesting. Let's have a conversation. So I don't need them to defend me or to protect me, but, given what they know of me, and I only bring those stories up because they have engaged with me and they know what I think of their games, which are, intentionally, both from a budget standpoint, probably from a creative standpoint, they're really unique, interesting looking games. Another one, I don't think New Blood is this, but I think they're somewhat associated with Faith, the kind of 8-bit game. Horror kind of thing with the mortis and the priest, the crucifix, which I've gone on record as loving. I've gone on record as loving their other game that guy made, which was sort of a game about, it was something like The Wind in the Field or some horror game that he did like a game on, which I thought was great. And I bring it up because I'm like, okay, you guys know that I have been, hell, the guy who made Dusk also made Squirrel Stapler, which I loved. And streamed. And I'm just like, wait a minute, you guys know that I am a supporter and a consumer of all kinds of games, including and potentially especially games that are interesting first and foremost, even if they don't want to have a great art style. They intentionally have a problematic art style or a abrasive art style, which is what I think the case is with Cruelty Squad. Or they just can't afford a great art style. It's not art style, but photorealistic graphics or great graphics or whatever. And it's like, you guys know that, right? And yet you still choose to publicly, you know, add fuel to this bonfire. And it's between that and it's between just the arrogance of that Cruelty Squad community that I'm just like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that game. So they may be right. It may be a really good game under the hood. I don't even care anymore. And again, this is not like, haha, fuck you, you're not getting my $20. Although to that one guy who called in my stream, I guess, you know, that should be a big deal, I suppose. But it's not about that. It's just about, you know, I said I would play it. I'm letting you know if you were expecting it. I'm not playing that fucking game. It's just that whole group, that sort of tribal Lord of the Fly. I mean, the fact that none of them would take my explanation as to why I did what I did with my Steam tweet at face value, let alone the guys from New Blood, that none of them would say, you know what, I know Jaffe, I know what he plays, I know what he likes. This does just seem like a, you know, this seems like a misfiring of communication. He didn't know what, you know, whatever. None of them. They were all like, nope, you're just a dumb asshole. You don't really get what we get. You know what? Fuck you. That's my response. So am I almost 50 and do I care about this stuff? I guess I do. So, you know, judge me if you will. Maybe that makes me a total, hello dog. That makes me just a total loser. I don't care. Because I'm honest, it bothers me. You know why? Because I love games and I love indie games and I love creativity. And I love people who take chances. And the fact that even with all of that, and even with decades, literally, but in terms of, yeah, I'd say, you know, 15 years in the public eye of gamers where I am continuously championing those sorts of games. One time, it's not even a screw up. I made an innocent, you know, mistake based on confusion, and it's just like, no, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, I want nothing to do with the Cruelty Squad fan base or with their game, and frankly, fuck off New Blood. I mean, seriously, you don't need me at all. You guys are a great developer. I will continue to support your games, play your games, buy your games. I love them. You guys are amazing, but fuck off. What? I mean, I get it. That's your shtick, but there's a point where shtick stops being shtick and it just reveals you for being an asshole. And yes, this is, I guess, speaking directly to Dave, who's the CEO. David, who made Dusk, you know, whatever. He's a pretty cool dude. But I'm just like, yeah, fuck off, man. There you go. That's my thing. Okay, see ya.